Welcome along, everybody, to the most iconic place in the world when it comes to Formula One. We're on the streets of Monte Carlo for the Monaco Grand Prix. It is round 6 in Season 16 of the Wheel2WheelRacing AL2 Championship, and we've been coming here in Formula One since the very start of the World Championship. And back in 1950, legendary Juan Manuel Fangio claimed his first race win in the Formula One World Championship. And over the next 70 years, we've seen many legendary names try to conquer this circuit, but it is no easy task. It's a 2.07 mile circuit with 19 corners, 8 to the left and 11 to the right, only one DRS zone, and of course it's a very difficult place to overtake, so pressure will be on in qualifying. We're going to be having 78 laps of racing after the short qualifying session, and track position will be key, so we should see most of our drivers on the soft tire, and that soft tire is the softest in the Pirelli range. It's the C5, which is about 6/10 quicker than the C4 medium tire, and about 1.8 seconds quicker than the C3 hard tire. Monaco, always an exciting spectacle, and we are underway in qualifying. We look forward to another exciting race here at Wheel2Wheel Racing.
Yep, Monaco, the jewel of the calendar, always an exciting race, plenty of action. Already I can see some carbon fibre having come off one of the cars, just exiting the pit, just shows you how tight this track is. And again, Silver Slugger catching the wall, already missing an end plate, just shows how tight these streets of Monaco are. But we had a pole time last season of a 1:11.5, which was set by our AL2 champion, Just Mikey. So let's see if we can get any contenders to compete with that time. Got the Haas drivers out first of the garage. As I say, Silver Slugger already missing some wings, so I think we will ride on board with Blood and Sand for his first flying lap here at Monaco. Currently fitted the medium compound, so we'll see if he's just going for a banker or if he's setting competitive times on the 6/10 slower compound there. So coming around the pool section, just warming up those mediums. Might be struggling to get a bit of temperature in them for now, but he's preparing for his first flying lap here in the streets of Monte Carlo. So, very deep into the last corner, and he's bailing. He's back into the pit. So who have we got next on track? We've got the McLaren boys. Cal following James, but we will ride on board with James as he's coming down. DRS open down the start-finish straight. Very tight here, as you see. Cars exiting the pit will come onto the track. Heavy braking into turn one, uphill. Now coming into the casino section as Woody pulls out of the way here. Turns 2, very difficult, tight section, quite a slow part of the track here. Turn 3, you've got to watch for the bump on the left here. CHM and the Mercedes almost in the way of James, but he manages to avoid him. Coming round now to the hairpin, which is a very difficult corner to get right. You have to have your car set up perfect to get round there. Coming downhill now, and he went too close on the inside curb and invalidated his lap, but he's coming into the tunnel now, which is turn 9, just inside here. Very difficult as you come out as the light changes. Downhill braking into Nivelle chicane, which is turns 10 and 11. You have to watch that inside wall there, because that will spin your car. Best overtaking chance down there, but we come round now to back at the pool section. We've got turns 11, 12, no we haven't, 13, 14, 15 round here. He's gone slow because obviously his nose has invalidated his lap, but tight final sector here. Exit at this corner quite critical because DRS straight down as you cross the line, and he's going to be going for his next flying lap, but currently that was a 1:14.9, so it was quite a slow lap but we did see he invalidated, but he's going again. So we'll see how the other cars fare as a letdown estate puts the first time on the board with a 112.6.
Yeah, James definitely having another go at it in the McLaren. He's put in a purple sector 1, but then he touches the wall on the exit of Lowe's hairpin. Such a difficult corner to get the car rotated around the apex.
Yeah, he's missing his right end plate, and that's going to hurt him down in his pole section.
Yeah, we'll see if he can still put up a competitive time. He still looks to be pushing. Yeah, this high-speed part of the circuit is where that loss of downforce will really affect them. Into Raskas. Very tight through the last couple of corners, and now he's coming down across the line, puts it on the provisional pole with a 111.7, and then Woody Wolfie beats him straight away with a 110.3. Impressive lap from the Racing Point man.
And we already have a retirement in the shape of Maxi for Renault. It looks like on the exit of the chicane in the just before the pole section. His car's stationary down there. I don't think we'll get on board with anybody before his car is taken away. But unfortunate for Maxi there. He did set a time, but it was a very slow time on the medium tyres, so we'll see how that affects his finishing result. But yes, very impressive time from Woody, as you say. But I'm hoping to see good things here from the Red Bull drivers, because a letdown estate is the highest finisher for qualifying and the race results from last season that is still in AL2. So of the remaining drivers, he will fare well there. Is Woody going for another flying lap? Because he did catch the wall there. No, he's coming in. So who else have we got out on track? Blood and Sand is coming round, maybe finishing a flyer. CHM in front of him, who is on an out lap currently, but he can use that slipstream behind that Mercedes car as he pummels down towards the finishing line, and he sets a 113.3 on a set of medium tyres.
Now we've got Old Dad's in the Ferrari coming across the line, and he sets a 113.1 on a set of medium. A lot of drivers going for the mediums in their first run. We'll see if they stick with that. The softs, even though they are the C5 softest tire that Pirelli offer for Formula 1, they do last 27 laps, so good life on those softs. We'll see how our drivers approach it.
Xerxes putting a comment up on the stream. He's currently on his out lap, but he said dry quali, dry race, rain at 90 plus minutes.
Ooh.
So that will certainly spice up this Monaco Grand Prix. As Xerxes starts his flying lap. Also comments on the stream, Kirk saying needs Slugger not to embarrass the country like he did last week. And Lawson saying Slugger is about to be in the torture chamber for the next 2 weeks.
Oh no, not what you want to hear from the fans and drivers alike.
No, but Monaco, anything can happen here.
Task. Yeah.
But Xerxes on a set of mediums, setting a purple sector 2. So let's see how he finishes this lap off now.
It takes the Nouvelle chicane very nicely, cutting it just the right amount to gain most amount of time without invalidating due to track limits. He does the same through that chicane there, now into Raskas. A little bit of a lockup, but he gets the car pivoted before he touches the wall, and now onto the final straight. It looked a good lap. Where is it gonna put him? It puts him on the front row, not quick enough to match Woody Wolfie, but
No.
P2 on the mediums
On the
with
mediums.
an 11.599. Very good lap from Xerxes.
It's a very tight battle at the moment as well in the combined constructors between McLaren and Red Bull. Oh no, sorry, I beg your pardon, there is about 50 points between them. It's the Ferrari and Red Bull, but the Red Bull boys need to get some good results now for the combined constructors, because they are just 4 points behind the the Ferrari guys.
I think Xerxes is having another go at it. Those seem to be pushing again. Of course, those medium tires, degradation's not going to be a huge worry, so you can do multiple runs on that same set of tires. And it looks like he's really pushing here as he comes into Sector 3.
Yeah,
Always taking that chicane beautifully. Back end getting a little out of sorts coming around the last couple corners, but is he going to improve on his second run? Yes, he is. He's into the 110s with a 110.8.
He is. And he's only 4.5 tenths off Woody, and as you said, there are 6 tenths between those tyre compounds, so
yes,
that just goes to show Xerxes has the power to be on pole here today. But Woody is out attempting a lap again now. James Laws also for Racing Point out setting a lap on the medium compound. He is currently 3 seconds down from his personal best, so maybe not his best attempt, but Woody 5 tenths up and purple in Sector 2. Runs out of ERS as he's coming up towards the line, Woody, but he improves by 4.5 tenths, which puts him into the 109s now.
Can really be difficult in qualifying to put together a lap. The circuit is so challenging to put together a flawless run, and you've got the added pressure of knowing how difficult it is to overtake, so track position is just so important. So you want to maximize that starting position the best you can, so you don't have to do as much overtaking.
Slugger has retired. It looks like he's just at the beginning of Sector 2.
He done a Nico Rosberg?
He must have. He pulled over to let Woody go, and I don't know what's happened, because he's retired and he hasn't put a qualifying lap time in yet.
There are some skid marks going to that runoff area where Nico pulled his stunt a few years ago, so
unfortunately we won't get to find out what happened there just yet, but we'll have to see. Hopefully he wasn't taking comments on the stream too harshly. Getting ridiculed by his friend Kirk.
So we've only got 2 cars on track now, both on outlaps, but we've got Old Dad's still on his mediums. Going for a second run, looking to improve. He's currently 6th with a 113.1. And he is now starting his flying lap.
Lawson on the stream, he did say, I Nico'd it. Old Dads, I think I caught that. He was 2 tenths down on his time.
A little bit deep into those hairpin.
But I think he's back out on the same set of mediums he set his previous time on, so that's one thing to factor in.
It's interesting how many drivers are still sticking with the mediums. I think on Wednesday we saw nearly everybody on the soft tires. But still enough time for all of our drivers to have a run on the softs if they choose to do so. But here comes Old Dad's still on the mediums. On the start-finish straight, and he does improve, doesn't he?
I was a bit distracted there. The car, James.
Oh no.
James is out. Just into the tunnel, but his car's disappeared now, so again, not knowing what's going on. We've got 3 retirements in the qualifying session already. What is the race going to be like?
Well, I said that there have been many legendary names to try and conquer this circuit, and not all of them have succeeded. We've seen one Rosberg-esque retirement, and that was a similar area to where Ayrton Senna crashed out when he was leading at Monaco.
Who was the one that was upside down before the tunnel? Was that Button?
I don't know.
I can't remember if it was Button or Alonso. I just think it was Button. On the roof of the car, on the entry to the tunnel.
Yeah, it's not an ideal thing to do, but hopefully James wasn't upside down there. I wasn't able to catch what exactly happened, but track is still pretty clear. Old Dad's coming in.
James Law's looking to finish off his flying lap. He's got on a set of softs. I believe his previous run was on medium, so let's see how he can improve. But he's coming in. So CHM next to possibly cross the line on a fresh set of softs. He's got quite a bit of time to make up from his previous best, so let's see how he can handle these soft tyres around the streets of Monte Carlo. And he is a second up on his time that he previously set. Coming round Razkaz. Oh, and he looked to go quite deep into the wall there, but still got all of his wing. Coming down now, DRS open to cross the line, and he improves by 1.1 second, which puts him up into 8th with a 1:13.3.
Yeah, very solid lap from the old veteran CHM. He'll be happy with that. Kept it nice and tidy. And I think Sega Takaz will be the next to start his final run on a fresh set of softs. I think he comes down the start-finish straight.
There must be a lot of people quite happy with their time, because one minute left of this qualifying session, and again, we've got 3 cars on track.
It's not what we're accustomed to seeing at Monaco, where qualifying is almost just as important as the race itself. But we'll see what Sega Takaz can do, one of the few drivers out on track at the moment, as we wind down in the final minute of this qualifying session.
I just love the sound of the engine coming through the tunnel. But heavy braking here into the chicane, which is where I think we'll see most of the overtakes, but Charles Leclerc certainly showed us that there are other opportunities to overtake on this track. And Sega with a purple sector 2, but he does catch the wall of the pool section there. And he has lost his end plate, but he did have a purple sector 2, so has he carried enough speed to negate that damage he just took off the wall? And he crosses the line nearly a second quicker, putting him up into 6th place on a set of soft tyres.
Yeah, a good lap from Sega, considering that contact in the final sector could have been much better, but still improved his time, as you said, by a second. Gained himself a few positions. He will be starting 6th, and I believe that is that for qualifying. Sega Takaz not going for another lap. Everybody else is either in the pits or completed their final run.
Yeah, James Laws did come out for another run, but I think the time ran out before he crossed the line because he's got a checkered flag next to his name.
Yeah. But his teammate put it on pole a second between him and the rest of the field.
So Xerxes, as you say, he is the second behind first place, but he will be starting on the medium compound, so that might change this race.
Yeah, of course, we do have question of rain at the end of the race. We'll see if that plays a factor, but always, no matter what the elements are, safety cars, VSCs are always happening at Monaco, so we'll see how much that affects people's strategies. Anything can happen, as you say, at Monaco. So then, that is qualifying for the Monaco Grand Prix in round 6 of the AL2 Championship. And it's Woody Wolfe on pole with a 109.871, followed by Xerxes in the Red Bull on the mediums, followed by the two McLaren boys, James in 3rd and Cal in 4th, and a letdown Estate in 5th, Sega Takals in the Williams in 6th, Old Dads and Blood and Sand 7th and 8th on the mediums, CHM in 9th on the soft, James Laws on the mediums in 10th, Maxi in the Renault 11th, and then 12th and 13th, Silva Slugga and Prev not setting a time. That is the grid for the Monaco Grand Prix, which will be starting here after just a short break. So our drivers get ready for what will be the biggest test of the season.
Yeah, it certainly is a challenge to race these streets of Monaco. As you say, qualifying is almost as important as the race, and a good mix of soft and medium compounds, so it'd be very interesting to see how that does affect the race. But as we look at the AL2 stand-ins, Cal is very much at the top, having been on the podium every single race he has ran so far. So 5 podiums for Cal, 3 fastest laps and 3 poles. He's only been demoted to 2nd place twice last week from Xerxes, having gained his first race win here at Wheel2Wheel. But Xerxes really on the up. He's certainly improved his racecraft and is certainly bringing the threat to the McLaren team. But Old Dad's Rule in 3rd place, and it's very tight after that. We've got a few drivers, only a couple points between them, following down there, and then we've got James, Prev, Woody, certainly on the rise, Woody Wolfe, Maxi, CHM. And the constructors, it's very much firmly in the hands of the McLaren drivers at the moment for the AL2 constructors title. However, if we go over here at Wheel2Wheel, we are having a combined constructors championship this season. So the constructors points from AL1 League and the constructors points from the AL2 League get combined to have an overall Wheel2Wheel racing championship. And at the moment, Ferrari are sat at the top, but only 4 points safe from the Red Bull boys. So that's what Xerxes and a letdown Estate are going to be looking to change here today at Monaco. And 60 points behind the Red Bull drivers is McLaren. And although they are very firmly at the top of the AL2 Constructors title, they are a little bit further down in the AL1 race. So combined together, they are 64 points lagging behind the Red Boys of Ferrari. So very interesting to see how that will affect this race. But just whilst we're talking about it, the AL1 Constructors battle at the minute is quite an intense one, because there are only 25 points that splits 1st and 6th place. with Williams and AlphaTauri joint first currently, both with 202 points each. So very interesting constructors battle for the AL1 League. So as I said previously, a letdown estate is the highest finisher from last season that's still in this season, because Dastardly won last year, followed second by Just Mikey, who was the AL2 champion last year, and a letdown estate got the third step of the podium last season. But we had the fastest lap of a 1:12.2, which was set by Bannister, who's moved up into AL1. But will we see a fastest lap of that speed here? Because we do have rain towards the end of the race at 90 plus minutes. So when that will fall, how much it falls and how long it falls for will all affect everybody's strategy. So very interesting to see how this will unfold. But Wheel to Wheel, we're always looking for new drivers, so if you're watching, check us out on Facebook, on Discord, on our forum site, sign up. And yeah, we induct all of our drivers, but happy to accept clean new drivers and expand our league fully. But our 5-minute break is over as we come on to the formation lap now. So let's hope we can have a clean lap one as we come round, because we've got 78 laps of racing here in Monaco. Quite a short track. Possible to do the one stop, but we know that that weather is coming, so that may have changed everyone's strategy.
And the famous saying in this game from Jeff, the race engineer, no heroics into Saint Deval. That rings true even in league races. We will see. Hopefully everybody can get through. It is so tight trying to go 2x2 through the first corner here, and it normally gets single file as you climb up the hill towards the casino. We will see how our drivers get on. But you can make up a couple of positions if you're willing to push the limits. But you've got to have some serious bravery to do that around here.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting to see that all the cars who had free tyre choice has opted for the medium compound.
Yeah. So then a very short run down into turn one and a very tight turn one as it is, and we've got 13 cars on the grid. Woody Wolfie starting on pole. Last week's race winner starting on the front row as well. Championship leader starting in fourth. He'll be looking to make up a spot or two here at the start. So our drivers get locked into their grid positions. We see the protected strategies, but the 5 lights are on. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing in Monte Carlo, boys. Woody Wolfie leads the charge down into turn one. It's a good start from James in the McLaren. Can he get through on the inside? Oh no, it's Cal. There's through. Oh no, it is James. In the McLaren, the timing screen is all out of whack, but it's a great start from James up into second.
Yep, 5-second penalty for James Law. He looked a bit loose and he was colliding with the Ferrari car, who's just ran into the back of the Haas in front of him.
Woody Wolfie staying out in front, and this is a lovely view round Lowe's hairpin as the cars come through the tightest corner on the F1 calendar, and some yellow flags out. Hopefully everybody makes it through unscathed.
Yeah, very tight there, very nose to tail as we come round this lap one. A lot of people finding the feet, finding the grip, finding the difference in the tyre compounds between their competitors in front and behind them. but relatively clean. All cars still have all their wheels coming in round to the final sector.
And while one of the McLarens got a great start, James up into second, Cal dropping back to sixth. Not what he would have wanted, and it's always difficult to make up the position on track. He's got two soft runners in front of him.
Yeah, Xerxes losing a place to one of the McLarens, and he's already under pressure from his teammate who's on the softer compound. So are we going to get a multi-21 situation here where they're going to let the faster compound through whilst they have the grip?
Oh, and Xerxes struggling there through Lowe's hairpin to get the car turned. You have to fit a special steering apparatus just for the Monaco Grand Prix, specifically for that corner because it is so tight. Now here comes a left down estate on the overtake button. Coming through the tunnel, is he gonna try it down the inside? No, he's not. Xerxes locking up but staying ahead of his teammate.
Yeah, a letdown estate really being held up here by Xerxes. Xerxes has got some incredible pace, but the difference in the compound at this stage of the race is just overwhelming.
Yeah, he's maybe struggling to get enough temperature into those mediums as well off the start of the race, and now Xerxes is pitting, so maybe there was some wing damage playing a factor as well.
But letdown estate given free air now, so he's got to run away with this because he has got the threat of a Williams and a McLaren behind him. But we've got a few cars in the pit. We've got Blood and Sand, we've got Xerxes, and we've got Old Dads all in the pits, which must only mean that there was some wing damage and contact and carbon fibre lost on that first couple of laps.
No surprise to see that around Monaco. It's all about trying to get into the groove. The mediums can last nearly the whole race around here, so you can just keep it clean and get into the zone and really put together a consistent performance on whatever tire these guys decide to go on. Looks like the softs for Xerxes and Old Dads, the hards for Blood and Sand.
So Woody and James really having a race of their own there. Nearly 7.5 seconds in front of the Red Bull of a letdown estate, but he was being held up a little bit from his teammate with that wing damage. But Woody setting the fastest lap, 1:14.7 on a set of softs. Letdown estate is pulling away from the Williams driver of Sega DeCoz, but Sega is really under threat from the McLaren behind, as James Laws now pits also.
Sega on the softer compound here with Cal behind. Cal showing great pace. He's gonna have to show some patience here as well if he wants to get past the Williams cleanly. You just gotta almost wait for a mistake from the driver in front and then pick your moment to squeeze through.
Really has some incredible pace on the different compound tyres. We had a yellow flag there, Silver Slugger coming out of the pits. Both Hasses now having pitted early on in this race, but it looks like he must have crossed the pit lane exit line as he came out, but Cal really still on the back of this Williams car. DRS assistance down the start-finish straight is just going to help him get the move done past the Williams driver. He's closing the gap, but no, he's not brave enough to go wheel to wheel with him on turn one.
Sega DeCoz using every bit of his overtake there in defense. Not got much left to work with, while Cal's got 78% of his battery. That might play a factor. It could be the difference maker here.
Yeah,
getting this move done.
There might have been a little bit of contact in the casino section there as Sega was trying to push through. But Xerxes on a fresh set of soft tyres, setting the fastest lap now, so he's really trying to reclaim them positions that he's lost having that early pit stop.
I think as much as Cal will be worried about Sega in front of him and trying to get past, looking all the way ahead, he's losing so much time to his teammate and Woody Wolke out in front, which is going to be his long-term concern, I think. Someone of Cal's Pacer Championship leader. We wanting to challenge for a win today, but so far it's not going his way. Still a lot of time left, though, to change that.
Yeah, but as you say, you know, track position is key in Monaco. So Cal might have the pace, even on the slower compound, but if he can't get past, he can't get past.
Yeah.
Comment on the stream from Kirk. Haas looking worse than they do in real life right now. It's a bit harsh, but you know, they aren't doing this isn't the best day in the office for the Haas drivers, I can definitely say that.
There's still a long way to go.
Yeah, anything can happen. This is the Monaco Grand Prix. We have some wet weather still to come, but we still have probably about 60 laps before that's going to show.
Oh, and here comes Cal. Is he going to try and send it down the inside? Yes, he is. Down the inside at the chicane, coming out of the tunnel. He got a great run, and he is up into fourth. He
Great
picked
awareness.
his moment and made it stick.
Great awareness from Sega to Cos. See that move come in and to do the right thing and not cause too much damage to either car. But yes, incredible move from Cal on the braking.
Yeah. That is, even though the DRS zone is down the start-finish straight, usually that chicane after the tunnel is the best place to make a move. We saw a few moves there on Wednesday, and our first, I believe, on-track overtake after the start was there as well. So Cal making good use of the best overtaking opportunity on the track.
Yeah, Cal now, as you say, a little under 17 seconds down from his McLaren teammate James. But Xerxes trying to climb back up the order. He's closing the gap between him and Prev, but Prev is catching the Renault of Maxi. And we have Blood and Sands in the pits now. So both Haas drivers right at the back, and in fact Slugger has nearly got Woody on his tail.
Oh, and Blood and Sand does as his teammate did, crossing a line on pit exit. So not a great day for the Haas boys so far, but still 70 laps to go. So much yet to happen. Can go from 0 to 0 or 0 to hero at Monaco in the blink of an eye, so all about just getting back into that groove.
Yeah, very difficult once you lap though, because if the safety car does come out, unfortunately on the game it won't allow you to unlap yourself so soon. I've already seen a couple blue flags just flash up now and then, and I've just seen some carbon fibre floating around, and Silver Slugger missing his right end plate. I'm going to have to come off the stream watching these guys because it's just torture for the Haas team. But ghosting is on, so we shouldn't see too many trouble with overtaking lapped cars here. But we do have some action on track in the shape of Renault, Ferrari and Red Bull, which is Maxi, Prev and Xerxes.
Yeah, Xerxes taking that early pit stop, but he's on the quickest tire now. Fresh softs. Try and get past these two medium runners in front.
Is DRS assistance going to assist any of them here? I don't actually think any of them was within the DRS window there, strangely enough, or just outside of it.
The top two cars are now a lap ahead of the Haas boys, but the Haas boys battling for position here as they come out of the tunnel. Blood and Sand opting to just stick behind his teammate. I think the last thing we want to see now is a move go sideways
I think we can see Silver Slugger on the hard tyres with wing damage, but Blood and Sand just clipped the wall also. But he does still have both end plates, but as you say, them hard tyres 1.8 seconds slower than the softs. And is that Silver is in the pits again. Xerxes
getting a 3-second penalty for multiple track limit warnings that time. It was cutting the chicane, and I think Old Dads just did the same exact thing, getting his, or was that Old Dads and Maxi getting time penalties. Maxi is pulling into the pits, which leaves just the Ferrari in front of the Red Bull of Xerxes.
Xerxes maybe needed new trousers there as the Haas car came out of the pit lane. And thankfully they were ghosted, but it still would catch any man by surprise. But Xerxes desperate to get past this Ferrari of Prev. Cal also having closed the gap to a letdown estate. Let's just quickly flick there. No, it's too far back to do anything in the Nivelle chicane. Oh, but letdown estate got a little bit loose, and Cal is now on the inside coming into the pole section, and the wheel-to-wheel round here, but Cal surrenders the position back to a letdown of state. A letdown estate, good history here in Monaco for wheel-to-wheel, but Cal is looking to reclaim the podium streak he currently has here.
Now, as Prev has been getting closed down by Xerxes in the Red Bull, he's closed the gap in front to CHM. He'll be now in DRS range of the Mercedes in front. That'll certainly help him in defense. Cal still right on the back of the other Red Bull, and a letdown of state.
Yeah, Cal a lot closer this time. Not using his overtake, and it doesn't look like he's trying to make the move this time. Let down a state, better exit on that chicane compared to the last lap. Xerxes on the tail of Prev. Really difficult to try and follow these two battles that are going on separately around the track right now. But let's flick back to Cal as he's got DRS assistance coming down to turn one. Has he got time to make the move? He is having a look on the inside and on the brake, and he does make the move and gets past the Red Bull of a letdown estate. Incredibly tight move there, and again, great awareness from all the drivers to know where the other car is, and the Red Bull was looking to do the same thing on Prev.
And I think maybe a bit of wing damage taken there. Xerxes missing a left end plate.
Oh, that's not what he's going to want. Old Dad's now on the hard tyres, catching James Laws, who's also on the hards. DRS assistance, the Ferrari is gaining rapidly on the racing point, and I think James Laws just surrendered the position there because of the sheer pace of the Ferrari coming towards him.
Woody, race leader, pulling into the pits. It was quite an early pit stop. Maybe the weather predicted towards the end of the race playing a factor.
I think I caught the very end of an attempt from Xerxes on Prev there. It seemed to be very slow in the entry to the Nivelle chicane.
And now Prev, CHM, Sega to cause all very close to one another. Prev with DRS down the start-finish straight, too far back to have a go into turn one. But he has pulled away from Xerxes in the Red Bull with that wing damage. Not what he would have wanted on this second stint.
No, really unfortunate to see. he could try and push it out to the same life of these soft tyres, but it really does look like it's causing his damage, as he's now dropping seconds per sector to the cars ahead.
HM continuing to close the gap on Sega cars in front. Three cars in a little DRS strain here.
Will it help any of them?
Sega looking to have a comfortable enough gap into turn one, as does CHM to hold off Prev behind.
Xerxes has surrendered. He's back into the pits to change that wing. And he's on a set of hards now, so he's going to be looking to carry them out to the wet weather by the looks on it. I think these three drivers look pretty happy to just do their train at the minute. No real forcing of error from CHM on Sega. But Cal close to his teammate now, but his teammate and the race leader both having pitted, and both of them having come out in front of Cal.
Yeah, I think podium is on the cards for Cal at the moment, but doesn't look like anything more unless we have some sort of safety car to help him out.
I mean, a letdown estate is only 4 seconds behind Cal. I know Cal's overtaken a letdown estate, but as we know, it's Monaco. So the right strategy call for the next set of tyres for the pair of drivers there, or the right strategy call for the wet weather, could change the result dramatically. Ooh, it's CHM very close to the back of Sega there. And Blood and Sand's in the pits now. Slugger having done 4 stops. Blood and Sand now completing his second. Really bad day. He's third, sorry. So really bad day for the Haas team. But this train of 3 drivers still continues.
HM just inching closer each lap into turn 1. And again, Sega using a lot of overtake to defend.
We've got Old Dads very close to the back of Xerxes. And Xerxes is in the pits again. No! This is not what we want for the Red Bull driver who was last week's race winner. The only grace he might have there is putting a set of mediums on.
This might put him a lap down though. Not what he would have wanted so early in the race as well.
Yeah, that's him behind second place. Blood and Sand picking up another warning. CHM's had dropped back from Sega a little bit, but he's beginning to close the gap again. But Sega's pitting for his first stop off the soft compounds. So Prev now chasing the Mercedes of CHM. Is this where the soft compound is going to be not looking as good as the mediums?
Yeah, I think we saw the latest of the soft runners pit around lap 17 on Wednesday, so this will be the time when those softs start to fade. And only a Letdown Estate and CHM running 4th and 5th are still on the softs that they used in qualifying.
But we do know CHM and certainly a Letdown Estate know how to manage their tyres. But desperate to know when this rain will fall. Are these medium tyres going to last until the rainfall, or are they going to be looking to refresh their tyres before that, as CHM now pulls into the pits, leaving a Letdown Estate, the only one, as you say, to have started on the soft tyres. But Prev and Cal also the only other two drivers, including a Letdown Estate, not to have pitted yet. Prev with free air now for the first time in several laps. Certainly going to be enjoying that as James picks up a penalty. So, have we got much going on? We've got Sega, who's a little over a second behind Maxi. Sega on a few fresher mediums. Xerxes, I think, will soon be coming close to the racing point of James Laws in front of him. In fact, I'll say that Xerxes is already within DRS range of James Laws in front. James Laws losing some end plate inside the tunnel there. He's on the hard compound, so as you said at the start, there is about 1.2 seconds difference between the hards and the mediums, and you can tell as Xerxes has to back right off following James through on them hard tyres, with the wing damage also affecting his pace. But I've got to say, Sega also on back of Maxi, and James Laws going very deep into the penultimate corner, and I don't really know what's going to happen here, but Xerxes is on the inside with DRS assistance. Can he get in front before turn one? I think he can, but James Laws is not giving it up easy and is still carrying up on the outside, but Xerxes is now just in front.
Well,
but I say that Sega
and
sending it down the inside. Sorry, Matt, I'll let you take that one.
Oh no, Sega getting a clean move done down the inside at the Nouvelle chicane. That was well fought from James Laws, having wing damage and on the slower tire. He didn't make it easy on Xerxes, but kept it clean, kept it fair. And now we see Letdown Estate exiting the pits after his first pit stop, coming out on a set of mediums.
Yeah, very good show there from a Letdown Estate, taking them softs quite well into the race. And now the two cars in front of him haven't pitted yet, so if he can gain some time on the two cars in front who are running the medium compound, he could jump them for their next pit stop. I think I would have loved to have caught that overtake from Sega on Maxi, but with the other battles going on at the same time, it's very difficult to try and watch all of the action that's going on at once.
There's James Laws now exiting the pits. Getting a new wing on that racing point. And he's going to come out just in front of the Ferrari of Prev.
Yeah. Needs to try and get out of the way of the Ferrari. He's ghosting, so it shouldn't be too difficult, but he needs to do a better job than this, because typically you would get a 5-second penalty for ignoring blue flags. I think you have so many corners to do it, but the problem is when ghosting is on, I think that rule is kind of stretched out by the game, because I think I would have seen it pop up by now.
Yeah.
Which can be quite frustrating when you are on your lead lap and you've got a lapped car who's just ghosting inside of you.
Yeah, of course we have ghosting on in this league just to add that extra bit of safety, I guess, but still obey blue flags when they're shown to you.
Yeah, because all that could be putting Prev off, which has now allowed a letdown estate right onto his back. And we have a yellow flag. Maxi is round just past the pits and is trying to get out of everybody's way, and he's lost in most of his front wing.
Oh, now he's got to do an entire lap just to get back to the pits. This is going to be horrible for Maxi. Have very little downforce.
Yeah, worst place to lose your wing, as you say, to have to drive all the way around. But very impressive stuff from Xerxes, setting the fastest lap on a set of mediums with a 1:13.9.
Yeah, maybe Xerxes starting to find a rhythm around here. Still a long way to go, but he's left himself a lot of work to do. Down in 10th right now.
But let down estate, the other Red Bull driver really needs to try and get this move done on Prev. Prev struggling with the back marker, ghosting in front of him, but if a letdown estate wants to try and get the jump on Cal at all, he needs to get this move done. But that ghosting car is also giving DRS assistance to Prev to defend from a letdown estate.
And blue flag still being shown to the racing point of James Laws, and he's still staying in front of the faster car behind.
Carbon fibre bouncing around, but now we've got another back marker in the shape of Silver Slugger, but he is holding back and letting these lead cars through.
As he should do as a lapped car, letting the lead lap cars go through. And now Prev, so when he gets into these situations when the car's ghosting through him, like, so annoying as a driver to have to deal with this when, being honest, you just shouldn't have to deal with this because the driver should be getting out of the way.
Yeah, trying to find your braking point and your apexes whilst there's a ghost of a car in the track is not ideal at all, especially when you've got a championship rival right on your tail. But I think that this is what happens when ghosting is on. Although it's a good thing to have ghosting on at Monaco, I just think the ghosting seems to foul the penalty system for blue flags.
Yep.
So
Letdown State still right on the back of Prev, though. So it'll be interesting to see if he can try and get a move done on much younger tires than the Ferrari in front. Prev having done 23 laps on those mediums. Letdown State having only done 4 laps. We do see the sun has sort of disappeared now over the streets of Monte Carlo. You know, rain is expected at the end of the race, so maybe those clouds are starting to roll in here.
Yeah, that will start to affect the track temperature as the track will begin to cool. But I keep saying it, I let down a state. The gap between him and Cal is slowly growing. He needs to get this move done on Prev whilst he's got these fresher tyres. It's just not quite coming yet, but we have Xerxes on Old Dad's. Old Dad's on a set of hard tyres, so Xerxes shouldn't have too much trouble with this, but Old Dad's getting very loose in the final sector there, banging into the walls, and it looks like he has lost his end plate. Oh, and Xerxes lost a lot of traction on the back end as he opened his DRS. His back end just kicked out, which meant he couldn't get down onto the Ferrari to turn one, but very close on the back as we're going uphill through the casino section, and Old Dad's just let Xerxes pass, but that was quite a surprising move. I'd like to think he'd give a shout out to him before he pulled that move on him.
Oh, and now James Laws does get out of the way, obeys the blue flags, and releases Prev and a letdown estate to go through and have their battle for fourth. Now Prev will not get DRS, not having a car in front of him, and a letdown estate is right on the back of him. Switches to the inside. Is he going to have a go into St. Devon? And he gets ahead of the Ferrari and up into P4 for a letdown estate.
Fantastic move. It's been a few laps coming that, and it's desperately what the Red Bull driver needed to get in front of him to start to close that gap to his main rival on this track today, which is Cal. Few comments on the stream. Diggle, sounding good, guys. Come on, a letdown estate. TK, that's a break by Old Dad's then. Yes, he did break. And Diggle, yes, Mark. Very impressed with that move there.
Yeah, that was a good one. Down the inside.
Yeah.
And he has already pulled over a second and a half to Prev.
He has, but he's still 30 seconds down from Cal, so that's the gap he needs to start closing.
Yeah, it's still a long way to go. All it takes is one mistake from one of those drivers up front to put a letdown estate right back in the running for a podium.
But as you say, it's looking pretty cloudy, so when is the rain coming? Can Cal push them out to switch straight onto a set of inters? Because if he does, that would really hinder a letdown estate's chances here. But Cal is a pit stop ahead of a letdown estate. So still a lot to play for here, but we've got quite a staggered field, a few lapped cars.
Yeah, Xerxes is closing the gap on CHM now. That looks to be the closest gap between any of our drivers on track.
Xerxes putting on a fantastic show, albeit probably more pit stops than he would have wanted.
A little lock up into the chicane there, but he continues to close the gap here. It looks like he's going to be well within DRS range as they come into the third sector. He might have a chance down the start-finish straight to get this move done.
They're on pretty similar tyres, so he won't have any advantage there.
Maybe a little bit of wheel spin coming out of the last corner. Xerxes with great straight line speed, but it's not good enough to get the move done this time around. He stays right on the gearbox of the Mercedes as they come flying up the hill towards the casino.
Yeah, but we know Xerxes has no traction on his car, as we can see very wild on the back end there. Also, running no ABS, as you see his car's tyres locking up.
There are a few tricky traction zones around this circuit. We're seeing Xerxes having to cope with that now, running no traction. As you said, it can be a big challenge around Monaco. Now he is once again right on the back of CHM through the third sector. He will get DRS down the start-finish straight. Can he get the move done this time around?
A lot better traction.
Getting a great exit. Not really an opportunity there for Xerxes, as CHM was flying out of the final corner. But now Xerxes is challenging up the hill. Had a look at the inside, but CHM just stays ahead. Xerxes having to stay patient here. Thought about having to go down into turn 5. And is that a bit of rain that I'm seeing?
That is. This could really play into Cal and Prev's hands, who have not yet pitted. But just going back onto that move from Xerxes, I was going to say that was very brave for him to even think about getting his nose there, but I think I'd probably substitute that word brave for stupid if he were to put it in there, because that's a very tight spot to try and get an overtake done. But Sega had, very similar situation coming up the hill after turn 1. He was having a look on the inside, but it was immediately shut down by Prev.
Yes, now a couple of battles going on. Jump back to Xerxes, using all of his overtake to try and close the gap into turn 1, but still just not enough straight to get alongside the Mercedes. He's pushing up the hill once again. He's trying to make a move on the inside, and there's contact.
Exactly what he tried to do the last lap.
And a safety car has been deployed. A lot of debris on track there as the front wing of the Red Bull was taken off.
Now it's probably way too early now for... I've just seen a full front wing on the hairpin there as well. But it's probably well too early for intermediate tyres, but what are some of these cars going to do?
I think we may see a couple of drivers gamble because, as you know, after a couple of laps behind a safety car, conditions can be vastly different for what they are now when we go back racing.
Well, Woody has gone for a fresh set of mediums. James has not pitted. He might even come out in front of Woody, and he does. James has now took the race lead for this safety car restart.
Yeah, I think that's a good decision from the McLaren pit wall to get James out in front. He's on relatively young tires, just 18 laps. And we'll see now how long they stay on the slick tires before they go into intermediates. If they do, it is very light rain at the moment.
Yeah, no one brave in the intermediates at the moment. Xerxes back on to a set of mediums he's done 2 laps on earlier. Cal carrying on, not deciding to take the pit, but maybe that is not the best move, because he does have a free pit stop between him and a letdown estate. He very well could have been in and out of the pits before a letdown estate come round, and a letdown estate could lose positions if he does pit, but he is on relatively fresh tyres.
And in 31 lap old mediums can last a long time, 58 laps around here, but that was an opportunity for Cal to get on some fresh soft tires or mediums, because he's going to be right behind the 2 cars in front, Woody being on fresh mediums and James only 18 lap old mediums, so 2 cars in front are going to be on much newer tires.
Well, Cal's going to have a big problem on this safety car restart, because there are 3 lapped cars between him and the next car he's racing. but he does have the grace of Prev being between. Is that Prev? No, he has Old Dad's between him and a letdown estate behind. So this is always the messy part, and safety car restarts when we've got lapped cars.
Going in. Cal is in. Second lap under the safety car. He is coming in for a fresh set of softs.
Yes.
Our championship leader is taking advantage of the safety car, and I think he should come out in front of a letdown estate.
He probably will.
Yeah, the Red Bull coming through the final corner now. And a bit too far back to make up a position, even with the pit stop. So, James out in front, Woody behind him, and then we've got Mercedes of CHM in third, and then we've got the two Haas boys of Blood and Sand and Silva Slugga. Then behind Slugga is Old Dad's in the Ferrari. And then we have, I believe, Xerxes and Maxi battling in for position. Old Dad, Xerxes, and Maxi, that'll be something to watch on the restart. And then behind them we have Cal, who is on the lead lap, and a letdown estate just behind him on the lead lap in fourth. Fifth, Prev, who will soon join the queue behind them in fifth.
Yeah, real interesting to see how this safety car restart goes, and I think Cal is actually someone who listens to the stream whilst he's racing, so he's probably responded to us talking about the fact that he had a safe gap between him and a letdown estate.
Yeah, there was.
You're welcome, and
there.
Sorry. You're welcome to Cal, and sorry to a letdown estate.
So, just want to clear up any confusion, because it is confusing. Situations like this under the safety car, we have 6 cars on the lead lap. James out in front, all the way down to Sega Takaz in the Williams. Now, Sega Takaz will be 12th in the queue on the safety car restart, but he will be 6th in the overall race. There are 7 lapped cars mixed in throughout this queue. So we will likely be seeing a lot of blue flags after this restart, as well as some fighting for position.
Likely safety car to be in this lap, I reckon, as the final cars are just sort of catching up now. Quick view of the penalties there on the screen. A few 5-second penalties I've seen come up under the safety car as cars have just bumped into each other. So we won't focus too much on that. But there's the notice.
The 2 groups to watch on this safety car restart will be that battle for third, with Prev, a letdown estate, Sega Takaz, and Cal all bunched up, as well as out in front with Woody Wolfie just behind our race leader in the McLaren, in James. Now James has bolted for the line to get us back going racing.
James and Woody left everybody in the dust, but we have, as we say, some lapped cars, and Woody's already regained first place. He took pole in this race, and he's now back into the race lead again. He did not stand for that at all, but we have James Laws in the pits already. So Sega Takaz right on the back of Prev. That's the next on-track battle that reflects the position, and Sega was having a look on the inside there, but not able to make a move.
And you can see it's starting to get a little slippery out there. Old Dad's trying to unlap himself. He is inclined to do so if he's got the pace, and he certainly will on those fresh soft tires. We know Old Dad's he's got great pace on his day, so he unlaps himself, starts pulling away from these two, and a little uneasy through the tunnel there for Sega Takaz.
Yeah,
it can be a tricky traction zone through there when it starts getting moist.
Yeah, these evolving conditions as you're going from a wet track to a dry tunnel to a wet track again. And certainly whilst they're on these slick tyres, it's going to be a very difficult thing to do. But Woody already 3 seconds in front of James, and fresh mediums are really serving him well. But Silver Slugger having a really hard time here again, backing off out of everybody's way. But what else have we got on track? We got Xerxes,
Vega having a go, maybe up the hill. He's just letting off the throttle there to give himself a comfortable gap. Into turns 3 and 4. Doesn't want any incidents with the Ferrari in front. Xerxes closing the gap to CHM as they both let Cal through. The blue flags.
Always gets very messy when you've got lapped cars, because now CHM is ghosting and Xerxes on the inside. Lost a lot of his wing the last time he was on the inside of CHM. And now the cars are solid, so you have to bear in mind.
Oh, like a little love tap. The RS is enabled. Now we've got one of the Haas boys joining the party. He's blood and sand. Maybe trying to unlap himself. But Xerxes unable to get the move done into turn 1.
I really want to drop down to Old Dad's because he's very close, but this Xerxes is very much wanting to have a look on the inside of CHM, but I think he's a bit apprehensive of what happened last time. Maxi close behind, and Xerxes just taps the back of the Mercedes again. But Xerxes, as we know, he's new to the game, he's new to no traction, and he's new to no ABS, but he's doing a grand job. But no ABS and no traction is most difficult when you are new, when the track is developing.
Here comes Old Dad's down the inside. Lovely move from the Ferrari driver. Gets up into P9 past the Renault. And Xerxes still right on the back of the Mercedes as it's starting to get very wet and slippery out there.
That was an incredible move from Old Dad's, really doing well to try and unlap himself against some of them cars, and now he will soon be joining this battle between Xerxes and CHM.
DRS been disabled because there's no DRS for Xerxes there, even though he's right on the back of the car in front. And a yellow flag in Sector 1 might be one of the racing points.
Xerxes desperate to get past the Mercedes. He knows he's got the pace, but he just doesn't have the track position. And the whole time he's been battling has allowed Old Dad's to get right onto the tail of Xerxes also.
Can be a test of your mental strength just as much as your strength of your driving skills around here to just hold your nerve and pick the right moment. He's gonna send it around the outside and he gets pushed through the chicane and just...
There was not a lot he could have done there. 10-second penalty though, he'll have to carry that.
Yeah, I think he did get pushed through the chicane, but then instead of letting off, he just kept on going right through it, and that earned him a 10-second penalty. I think the frustration playing a big part of that, and now there is DRS for Old Dad's. Is he going to have a go down the inside? There is Old Dad's making the move on CHM up into 8th. Couple of nice moves from the Ferrari man here in the last few laps.
Now they're getting blue flags from a letdown estate. So dare I read out the comments on the stream, Diggle. When we had Xerxes and CHM come together, he said, no! Then on that safety car restart, he said, It's pure pandemonium.
It is.
A few
We
penalties
are
coming up
now
there.
at the halfway point in this race, just over the halfway point now.
Didn't
On
you
lap
say
4.
that DRS was disabled?
I thought it might be. I was asking. But no, it has not been as of yet because Old Dad's had it last lap on CHM. Old Dad's doing really well on these fresh soft tires.
Yes.
Make up a couple of positions.
DRS is still active as Maxi has got DRS on CHM. Lawson saying Haas pit crew is the MVP of this race.
They have certainly earned their paycheck today.
Dare I check how many pit stops? Slugger has done 12 and Blood and Stand has done 5, so the Haas team has performed 17 pits this race.
I do think, though, we should point out that the record for most wing changes in wheel-to-wheel, I believe it was 14 or 15 by one Lee Finley, our former AL1 champion.
Yep, I think that was Baku.
Yes, it was around Azerbaijan, and Blood and Sand is retired in the tunnel.
Yes.
As we were talking about, it can be so difficult through there to know how much traction you got with the conditions changing from wet to dry in the tunnel and back to wet, especially on slick tires. And what's normally easy flat in dry conditions can turn into such a tricky corner here. And we see one of the Haas boys retiring. Really unlucky for Blood and Sand.
Maxi, 17 lap old soft, so they're not going to be feeling very good in this weather right now, but he is within a second of CHM. You can really hear the grip he doesn't have on them rear tyres as he's just...
Oh! A little bit of a mistake there from Maxi, and that is going to cost him some valuable time.
Yeah, really struggling.
Very unusual situation where it's been raining for several laps now, a good amount of time, but still the slick tires and still DRS available. So not often we see rain light enough to keep the conditions where slick tires are preferred, but that seems to be the case so far, and I just wonder if or when conditions might change where intermediates might come into play.
And that's if they do.
Yeah.
Xerxes picking up a penalty as he is he unlapping himself or is he being lapped? He's trying to unlap himself to Cal. So what's the tyre difference? Cal certainly should have the pace advantage looking at the tyres.
Another yellow flag. I think that was the other Haas driver. Maybe giving a little love tap to the wall through Raskas, but keeps all four wheels on, and that...
Xerxes getting the blue flags now as Cal's picking up the pace again behind him, but he did start to pull away, so if he can get a bit of extra pace out of that Red Bull, he should be able to get safe and clear of Cal.
Yeah, you are allowed to unlap yourself if you can overtake the car and pull away safely without hindering the car a lap ahead too much, but Xerxes just getting a little loose there, coming out of the hairpin.
This is really a turning point. Maxi is trying the intermediate tyres.
Very interesting. We'll see. Keep an eye on. I'm gonna ride on board with Maxi just to see how he gets on. The first man to venture away from the slick tires onto the intermediates.
I mean, we could see how much he was struggling on them softs. Probably coping marginally better on these intermediates, but it's marginal.
I think the thing to keep an eye on is the gap was about 21.5 seconds between him and CHM when he came out of the pits, and it's already grown by 1.5 seconds. I don't think these intermediates are what you want to be on at the moment, as the gap is growing so quick to the car in front. Now maybe he's able to get the field back into these tires, start getting into a little rhythm. CHM is pitting as well.
And he's going for intermediates.
Now Maxi just being lapped by our race leader in the racing point. It'll be interesting to see if Woody Wolfie thinks about pulling the trigger. No, he's staying out. And Prev also going through.
I've got to say it, Woody Wolfie doing an absolute fantastic job now, nearly 16 seconds in front of James, who was the race leader after this safety car restart. But Woody reclaiming the race lead after taking pole here with a very impressive time. But Xerxes is now making a way in front of Cal. Still seeing blue flags intermittently, but I think he's just about safe from any penalty. I think Prev's left his overtake button on. I wonder if he knows he's still got it on.
Yeah, definitely not ideal to have it on, especially in these conditions, through this part of the track. And is that Maxi in the Renault?
Maxi
He was
again.
sideways on the exit of the chicane. And I don't think those intermediates are really working for him.
Really struggling. And Woody Wolfie picks up a penalty. Is that his first penalty? It is. But James, having picked up 2 penalties, has got a 6-second time penalty for the end of the race. What's Maxi gonna do?
Maxi thinking about going. Don't think there's any wing damage on the Renault, and his pit crew is bringing out a set of soft tires, so. Much like, was it Germany in 2019, where some drivers tried the softs and didn't quite work out for them, or tried the intermediates, and these conditions always so tricky deciding which tire compound to be on. This time it was trying out the intermediates in these conditions, and it just didn't quite work out. So back onto the softs for Maxi.
Yeah, definitely coping better on fresh softs. Maybe it was the age of the softs before which was not helping him in the changing conditions. So not much action going on now. CHM still on his intermediate tyres, so he seems to be finding them okay for the time being. albeit he is 13 seconds down from his current best, but that's probably more to do with the wet weather than the tyres. Maxi looking like he's trying to unlap himself against Sega.
Yeah, he is on first soft tires, but Sega still showing good pace, and James Laws has put it in the wall. And that brings out another safety car.
Now this would be the gamble. This would be where you want to see if the intermediates are going to be the tyre of choice after the safety car. Because there'll be a couple more laps now.
Oh. And you see that Racing Point face first in the wall there. Down at turn 5. It'd be such a tricky traction zone. Easy to lock up there, as we saw riding on board with a few of our drivers throughout this race and qualifying. Unlucky for James Laws, he is our second driver to DNF from this race, and now our second safety car.
And Cal in the pits, he pitted, but he pitted at the same time as James, which delayed his car coming out, which is given the position to a letdown estate, but a letdown estate is on 28 lap old mediums. But I think in these conditions, I'm not sure how much of a difference that will make, but he will have his work cut out for him on the safety car restart. But where is Woody? Woody is just coming round. It's start finish line now, so there's quite a few cars between him and the second place. So track position and being on the lead lap, very vital here, as Diggle says, more pandemonium. So who have we got on the lead lap still? We have Woody, James, a letdown estate, Cal, Sega, and Prev is now unfortunately a lapped car, so he won't be able to get much more out of this race other than 6th, unless we was to have more incidents or more pandemonium, as it's very famously called now on our wheel-to-wheel streams.
Wow. It is so interesting that it's starting to get very wet. But still, all but one of our drivers, and now Woody is coming in, our race leader coming in. And what is that Racing Point pit crew gonna have? It's the intermediate tire for Woody Wolfie.
Oh, okay.
And that is a huge gamble here. I wonder what his race engineer would have been saying over the radio.
Now this is confusing. Now the safety car's got a green light on it, so cars can overtake it because the lead car has come in, which has put Prev back on the lead lap, and Xerxes is also back on the lead lap now. So this safety car has resurrected his race.
That is very good to see for Prev and Xerxes, able to get themselves back in the race now.
So the question is, what tyres is going to be the race start tyre? Because Woody has now got 1st to 7th on the lead lap. If these intermediates are not the compound to be on this race start, he's going to have a lot of trouble behind him. Whereas alternatively, it could be the race tyre to be on, and he could then be 15 seconds down the road again.
Yeah, it is very odd conditions, as I was saying earlier, that you see rain for this long and it not be intermediate tire conditions. But so far, it doesn't look like those inters have been the right tire. Our race leader taking a gamble.
Not before now, but as you say, the race leader doing a gamble, but that has resurrected Prev and Xerxes' race, as they're going to be able to get back into fighting for positions on the lead lap, as we've got 28 laps left here. But comment on the stream, Diggle, it must be best not to pit, surely. Inters must be soon. I don't know how that reads. Because if Inters must be soon, it might be a good idea to pit, I don't know. But we have more people in the pits. CHM is in the pit. What's CHM fitting? A new wing and medium tyres, but he was on the intermediates.
Wow.
I can think of a word.
I'm wondering what Woody Wolfie was thinking. I was thinking maybe he heard something over the radio with a suggested strategy, but none of our other drivers have followed suit going on to the intermediates.
He is the only one on intermediates. It will really be make or break. Either that or he's just having a joke with them on the game chat and gone, do you know what, I'll beat you all on intermediate tyres. Because he really has shown the pace this, well, the whole Grand Prix really. Qualifying he got pole by a second.
Ooh, the safety car's in this lap. A couple of drivers still not quite up to the queue. Sega Takaz and Prev both back on the lead lap, as well as Xerxes, but all very far away from the queue.
Yeah, Woody might be in deep trouble here, because he has got James, Aledanaste and Cal all immediately behind him on the lead lap.
And now we are going racing once again. Woody Wolfie leads the restart.
Cal already having a look on the inside on the restart, turn 1, and he's claimed the position from the Red Bull of Aledanaste.
And Old Dad's trying to map himself straight away. Sega Takaz able to make up the ground and get back to the queue right on the restart, so he's right on the back of the Red Bull battling for 4th.
I think that this is a turning point in the race. I think the intermediates probably aren't the best, but the slicks certainly aren't any better.
And we'll see the traction out of turn 8 with James compared to his rival on the inters, and James might have a go down into the chicane. He's on the inside and he squeezes through. James takes the lead.
Incredible racing there from both of them drivers, but Sega desperate to get the move done, and we've got a yellow flag. It looks like Silver Slugger in sector 3 really having trouble with this track, but kudos to him for staying in this race.
He is staying alive.
He's waving that American flag for you, albeit limping, but he's waving.
Yeah, points are points, and if you finish, you get points. That's all that will be on his mind for the rest of this race. Now Sega Takaz right on the back of Aledanaste as they come towards the casino. Still so slippery out there, and it's only getting worse as we come to the closing stages of this race. Oh. James doing well.
James managed to clear Woody by 3 seconds, nearly 4. Cal, now the other McLaren driver, looking to have a go at the previous race leader from here. I think the lack of pace in Woody now is showing that the intermediate tyres are definitely worse than the slicks right now.
DRS is enabled. I think that's further evidence to show that the slicks are the tire to be on, as normally DRS is disabled when conditions get too wet. The fact that it's been enabled after the safety car restart just shows that the stewards, from the steward's point of view, is still dry enough.
Ooh. Little love tap there from Sega onto a letdown estate.
And I wonder, from Woody Wolfie's point of view, he's dropped a couple places and dropped loads of time already. Is he gonna pit again to go back onto a set of slicks, or is he just gonna ride it out and hope that the conditions dampen his DRS is now disabled?
That is what Woody was waiting for. I was about to say that it's just having that crystal ball to know if in a couple laps he's gonna have to go back onto the intermediates, but I let down a state very deep into the chicane there, struggling with traction. Sega to Cos squirreling all around the track, but now Woody, if everybody else on the slicks have to pit, Woody will be about 12-13 seconds down the road, having stayed on them intermediate tyres.
This might be the turning point, because we're seeing Xerxes and Old Dads coming into pit, and now Sega to Cause coming in as well, and I think it's the intermediate tires for everybody.
A letdown estate didn't pit.
All of the pit crews coming out.
Cal didn't pit. James hasn't pitted.
Sega to Cause might be able to make up a couple positions here, but he's got a penalty that he's got to serve. So the intermediate tires go on, but that penalty may have cost him a chance to make up a couple places on those guys that stayed out on slick tires. Oh, and the letdown estate really struggling with the grip as Old Dad's just glides past on intermediate tires. Just gotta take it so easy in these conditions.
Cal, James, and the letdown estate. Very hard to see them going so slow on them slick tyres when everybody else pitted.
And you can see now, and Cal just can't get stopped for the chicane. Those tires are just not doing anything for him, and you see the gap from Woody to James, which was over 7-8 seconds. He's now right on the back of him because the tires have surely switched over, where the intermediates are now the tire to be on, and Woody Wolfie retakes the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah, Woody Wolfie had his crystal ball and he knew exactly what was going to happen. He read this Grand Prix like a bedtime book, and he just knew exactly how it was going to end.
And now we see just a couple of drivers still on slick tires, and Silva Slugga is one of them. He's really struggling to get any sort of traction, and he's now not got a front wing either. He's got to come in for some intermediate tires and a wing. Letdown estate now in the pits getting his tire change, but it looks a lap too late.
Yeah. Letdown estate still very strong result so far from him, and he's shown a real promising Monaco Grand Prix.
Xerxes able to get past Prev, as Prev, I think there was a mistake in the pit.
Oh no.
Oh no! and it was in the tunnel once again. I think, is that the same place his teammate DNF'd?
Ooh, and Cal was struggling through there, and yet Silver Slugger, it looked like he was missing both back wheels.
Really unfortunate for the Haas driver. Got through 50 or so odd laps of this Monaco Grand Prix, but the conditions just going from bad to worse here. You can see the standing water starting to appear.
Well, Old Dad's has put on full wets, and it's no surprise because these guys on intermediates are even struggling.
Yeah, it is really coming down out there now, and as I said, standing water starting
Cal,
to show
Maxi,
up here.
Both in.
Cal is in, yeah. On full wets.
I didn't read this.
Changed
Wow.
over so quick. It is pouring now on the streets of Monte Carlo.
Only 10 drivers left. Lawson, who I believe is Silver Slugger.
Yes.
Got some very sad faces on the commentary, on the comments. Yeah, very unfortunate there. You've done well to stay in the race as long as you did. And fair play to you for that. And let's have a quick look before we change over. And you did 17 stops, Silver.
I think that is a wheel-to-wheel record, isn't it?
Yeah. Woody, our race leader, coming in to put on the full wets.
I think that just shows how quick. Oh, and Segatical's getting very loose in the tunnel. Old Dad's going through, and you see the difference in the grip on the full wets. Old Dad's just breezing past. But I think it just goes to show how quickly the conditions changed, as Silver Slugger was still on medium tires when he DNF'd. And I think at that point it was changing over from inters to full wets. So I can imagine those tires were not giving him any sort of grip. So hopefully he can use that as a learning experience to maybe understand the changing conditions better in the future. But it has been really tricky for all of our drivers here these last 10 or so laps. Now Segatical is pitting from third onto some full wets, getting a wing change as well. And we'll see if he comes out in front of a letdown estate.
Well, a letdown estate not stopping. He's staying on the intermediate tyres, which is a gamble, but it could pay off.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Delta is about 3.4 seconds between a letdown estate and Segatical. And it looks like it's decreasing very quickly, so those full wets seem to be doing the job.
James picking up a penalty. Yeah, Sega really closing that gap to a letdown estate. As you say, the difference in tyres really showing there. But Prev pitting, he's taking off them intermediate tyres and throwing on some full wets. So a letdown estate is the only one left on intermediate tyres. If he were to pit now, he would lose a position to Sega, but I think he will be out in front of his teammate Xerxes, who's on full wets already.
Still staying out?
Yeah.
Is a bold move on a letdown estate, as the gap between him and Segatical has decreased so quickly. Surely full wets are the optimal tire in these conditions. It's just, there's so much spray being kicked up.
Yeah, but
so much standing water.
In these conditions, I know Sega might have better traction, but a letdown estate has track position.
Yeah.
And we know how difficult it is to overtake in Monaco.
That's in the dry, but in the wet, no DRS, and it can be much harder with spray from the car in front, visibility issues.
Well, yeah, as you say, riding on board with Sega, you just see how these conditions, how difficult they are to follow a car, let alone overtake one.
Now then, a little bit of a dry patch as they come through the tunnel. It can be very awkward on these full wet tires, but he manages it well.
Yeah, I think Letdown Estate might have a game plan here, although he is massively losing time to Cal in front. Just riding on board with Sega, you can see how difficult it would be to overtake someone here. It's difficult in the dry, in the wet, with the spray and the lack of traction. Just makes it impossible.
Yeah, no DRS as well, but now is the time for Letdown Estate to get that Red Bull pit crew working again. And it is the full wet for Letdown Estate. And will he come back out in front of his teammate? It certainly looks like he will.
I don't know, I don't think he will.
It's gonna be very close on pit exit. Here comes Xerxes past his teammate into turn 1. I think that extra lap of being on the intermediates may have made the difference there. Xerxes up into 5th.
Yeah, it's just having that crystal ball, isn't it? Just knowing when the track's going to turn, because you know the rain could ease off and it could go back to intermediates, and the freestanding water could be kicked off, and you know we could very soon be looking at intermediates again, of which a Letdown Estate would have benefited.
Oh,
as it just catches the wall there.
Yeah. Very difficult conditions, even if you are on the right tire. It does make it easier, but still not easy at all to get round. When it's like this, it is so difficult.
But Woody Wolfie really knowing how to manage his race, and it just seems that he's known how the race was going to turn out before anybody else did.
Yeah, he did take a gamble, as we said on the safety car restart. He took a chance, but high risk equals high reward when it comes to decisions like that. And while he was already in the lead of this race, that decision and its benefit really just made it so that he is in total control. 25-second gap out in front because of that decision to go on to the intermediates at the restart.
But we can have a quick rundown of the order. Woody Wolfie, as we say, pretty much in charge this entire race. He has dropped 1 or 2 positions, but very quickly regained them, and now 26 seconds ahead because of his very astute decisions and strategy, really knowing what to do when. James taking 2nd place. He's had a really good turnout of events here. You know, normally we see the McLaren of Cal being the lead McLaren, but no, this race James has really nailed down his track position. He had a good qualifying session, and Cal, currently in 3rd, was held up with some traffic, but that is what happens in Monaco. As we say, qualifying is almost as important as the race. But Sega Takoz in 4th place, outstanding showing from him today. Real Sin, a strong driver here last season in the shape of Sega Takoz, and he's really showing his true form again here in Monaco. Xerxes had a real unfortunate start to this race, involved in quite a few little incidents, whether that was involving the wall or traffic, but he pitted for a couple of extra wings, so to be now in 5th place is quite an incredible show, and a letdown estate. Good show again for the Red Bull driver. He's had a really good race. He typically does well in Monaco, but I think he was hoping for a better result here, and the late decision to switch from the intermediates to the wets might have cost him more than he had hoped. But old dad's rules in the pits. I'm not sure why. I'm guessing he got a little bit of damage, but he's quite far back from a letdown estate, so he's just looking to finish this race, bring the points home for Ferrari, who are currently leading the Constructors' Championship. But as it stands, I think Red Bull will reclaim the combined Constructors' title come the end of this race. McLaren will continue their lead in the Constructors for AL2 with their good haul of points, which they'll collect from here. Prev, again, doing well to still be in this race. 8th position, still scoring points for Ferrari. Maxi, good drive from him, involved in a few little incidents, and he's been sideways. A couple bad decisions from the strategy side, but, you know, as Matt says, high risk equals high reward. But I think it's not quite worked out for Maxi on them occasions. And CHM filling in the 10th place for Mercedes. Been real hard to overtake here at Monaco, but that's what you need to do to really claim and keep hold of positions. But now he's currently in 10th, but still scoring 11 points for Mercedes.
This has been an absolute roller coaster of a race. So much has happened. It does seem like all the action has died down, but Xerxes is closing the gap to the car in front, which is Sega to cause. Maybe still a battle for 4th to be decided in the closing laps. The gap was about 4 seconds at the start of the last lap, and now it is under 2 seconds.
Yeah, a letdown estate. When he pitted 3 laps ago, he came out just behind Xerxes, but now 15 seconds down the road, Xerxes is showing his incredible pace.
Yeah, he's doing everything he can to get the car stopped there into turn 5, but he does well to keep it on the optimal line. You can barely see through the spray, but you can see a lot clearer if we ride on board with Sega to cause. Well, now they're in the tunnel, but there is a drier line on the track where there's not as much standing water, and that's where you want to keep your car if possible. And Sega trying his best to get the power down. Xerxes right on its gearbox as they come through the swimming pool section.
Yeah, Xerxes with 16 seconds of penalties. Of course, he got nudged across the chicane, so that gave him 10 seconds straight away, which won't help him come the end of this Grand Prix. But I've got to say again, you know, Xerxes is one of the few drivers I know that runs no traction, no ABS. So the fact that he is running in these full wet conditions, doing all the braking and traction control all by his left and right foot, is impressive stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. Takes a lot of time to get the feel of the brakes and the power with no assists.
Yeah.
But
in this spray, to find your braking point, to brake with the correct force, and to accelerate out the corner as he just catches the wall.
Oh, and is that Prev, who's around at the chicane? I wonder what happened to the Ferrari there, as he lost a lot of time being turned around.
Yeah, Xerxes lost his end plate with that little collision with the wall. But still, even with that missing end plate, he seems to be able to bring the fight still to Sega to Cos. Oh, and Sega really losing it there. Really struggling with the traction, but that allowed Xerxes to just take the position. Now, without the spray and with the free air, can Xerxes build a gap now to Sega to try and negate some of the penalties that he's got at the moment? Just watching the acceleration and braking down on the telemetry on the bottom right of Xerxes. I think at the moment I'm just in awe of the fact that he can go from running on a dry track to intermediates to full wets with no ABS and no traction control, and still be putting in as good a time as he does, because he's now 4.5 seconds clear of Sega, who he only just overtaken. And Sega, as we see, the race leader just behind him. So Sega's soon to be coming a lap down.
Yeah, and at the beginning of this race, as you said, Xerxes really struggled, got involved in a few little incidents. But I think he was down in 10th for a little while, but he's shown great heart and desire to get himself back through the field, back up into 4th. It's a really good recovery drive. After winning last week, it's not quite gone as well, but definitely impressive to see him fight back through the field and get all the way up to 4th.
Yeah, unfortunate to see him picking up another penalty there. Coming on to 10 laps left now. "78 laps of Monaco, nearly complete. One of the shortest laps on the Formula 1 calendar. But with a couple safety cars and the wet weather, it's really prolonging the show here.
Yeah, looking forward to coming back to Monaco in real life F1 this year. They'd come here, I believe, every season since the 1950s, up until last year when the COVID shortened season unfortunately took Monaco off the calendar. But we will be back here in just a couple of months. It is always a great spectacle. I do also look forward to next year in 2022 when new regulations come in and the cars are a bit smaller. Hopefully At a lot of tracks, including Monaco, it'll make racing a little bit more enjoyable both for the drivers and the fans. As it's difficult to get one car around this circuit with this current generation of cars. Even harder to go too wide and get past somebody. Hopefully the new generation of cars will help with that. You are a Red Bull fan, Bloom.
Yes.
Right?
Good
So
results from the Bahrain practice, I could see.
Yeah, I've had the first sessions of the 2021 Formula One season. Free practice 1 and 2 today in Bahrain. And yeah, exciting stuff for Red Bull fans, I think.
Yeah, and I think exciting stuff for Lando Norris fans because he's shown really good pace today as well.
McLaren do look like they're closing the gap to the big teams each and every year, which is great to see. Obviously McLaren, one of the most successful teams throughout the history of Formula One, and they've not had it all go right over this past decade or so, but they're definitely heading in the right direction, which is great to see.
Yeah, they've definitely come a long way the last few seasons. And watching the Netflix Drive to Survive, seeing Daniel Ricciardo, obviously I'm a big Ricciardo fan from his Red Bull days.
Yes.
And you see that smile, you just can't not like him, can you? But he made the move to Renault, and it was so heartbreaking to see him in Renault and just not being able to even match a bad day at Red Bull in the Renault car. And yeah, but after hearing him making the move to McLaren and being a Lando fan, I just thought that it would be an amazing duo to see out on track, and it'd be good to see Daniel Ricciardo in a car that can take a podium, that can take a race win.
Yeah, and I think it took nearly 2 full seasons for Daniel Ricciardo to start getting the results that everybody thought he would be getting, or at least were hoping that he would get at Renault.
Yeah.
He didn't have a good first season, and it wasn't until the second half of the 2020 season when he got himself on the podium. He got to do a shoey for the first time.
Well, yeah, and he
since
forgot.
2018. Yeah, he forgot the first time.
Yeah, and I was screaming at the telly, "Do a shoey!" And then he did it in his locker room afterwards because everybody was posting on social media like, "I can't believe he forgot." And then Lewis Hamilton took some of his shoey, and I just thought, that's not very COVID safe, but never mind.
Wasn't that was that Imola? If I remember correctly, or
it may have been,
or
yeah.
no?
But I do wonder if Cyril got the tattoo.
I know he was the Nürburgring was podium for Daniel Ricciardo. And then I remember Max Verstappen going out at Imola, which sort of opened the door for third place there, and a lot of different drivers had a chance, and I'm looking forward to going back to Imola in a couple of weeks here.
Yeah.
Round 2 of this season is such a fun track to drive.
Six laps left of this Monaco Grand Prix, and I've got to read out this comment on the stream. Pillars saying the sound of the best teammate in AL1. and a random American.
Oh.
But yeah, we've got a good show for Racing Point as well, in the shape of Woody Wolfie. He's scoring some incredible points for us for the combined constructors today.
Yeah, unfortunate that you didn't have your teammate there on Wednesday.
I did have a very good fill-in in the shape of Xerxes.
Yes. It's understandable, not everyone is man enough to take on the streets of Monte Carlo, so... Yeah,
Dan Pillar's saying Racing Point OP. But Woody definitely showing us how Racing Point can take a race win.
He's grown the gap to 37 seconds now. This is worse in terms of a gap to some of the Lewis Hamilton wins that we've seen over the past couple years. He's absolutely blown everybody away.
I was watching the 2019 Monaco highlights before we came on to commentary tonight, and got Lewis Hamilton with Max Verstappen behind him. And for the last 40 laps, it's like, these tyres are dead, Bono. I don't know what you were thinking when you put these tyres on.
So there's no way getting to the end. We said they were making a mistake, and that they needed to hope for a miracle. And then, surprise, surprise, Lewis Hamilton won the 2019 Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah, shock, shock, horror. These tyres are dead. Fastest lap. My seatbelt's broke. Fastest lap.
Did hear Bottas over the radio today in that second practice session. We've got a yellow flag.
We
Check
do,
that out.
and that is a letdown of state. It looks like he's gone round by that chicane.
It doesn't look like he suffered any wing damage, so I think he'll be able to keep hold of 6th. And CHM has come into the pits to get a fresh set of tires.
Was there a wing change?
I'm not sure.
It's not really going to affect any finishing position, so I think...
No.
And I don't think it can quite go for fastest lap in these conditions.
No, yeah, and it is still coming down. See the umbrellas out on the balconies. It is really not ideal conditions for racing, but our drivers, 10 out of the 13 that started, have coped well enough to get this far. It is a really impressive feat. We're coming on to lap 76 with Woody Wolfie. It's just been a flawless drive from our race leader.
Yeah, he's really been in control this race. He had dropped a couple of positions at some point, but it seemed like he's known what he's doing the entire race. And we've got another yellow flag in the shape of a McLaren. This time it's Cal. Looks like Cal has gone round at the chicane. Got a couple banter comments on the live stream. Pillars saying, thought I was the only one giving you a Flillin bloom. Flillin? I'm not sure what he's talking about. Sorry, Pillars. Glock saying, wait, I'm not racing for Racing Point. When Pillars was saying Racing Point OP. Pillars saying, you're OP in your own, Glock. Only way I've won 2 races is because you're not here. And Glock said, thought I'd give someone else a shot. No pad OP this week. Pillar saying we all know wheel is OP, but round Monaco, I'm not sure which would be better, a pad or a wheel. Probably a wheel.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think the only thing, you're running no traction or no ABS, it is easier to have the touch on the brakes and the throttle when you're using the left and right triggers rather than pedals, but in terms of steering and keeping the optimal line and the consistency, I think a wheel is much better suited around Monaco. We saw one of our more vocal wheel users, Poorly Orange, always been vocal about his thoughts about wheel versus pad. He won an AL1 on Wednesday around Monaco.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't do too well on a pad around here, but I didn't have much time for practice, so had I done more practice, I may have changed my result a little bit.
Oh, you can see the amount of standing water. We get a cool camera angle coming through the swimming pool section.
And it looks like you're looking into a swimming pool.
Yeah, it's a swimming pool on the track now. Woody Wolfie can hop out of his car and just go jump onto the track instead of actually going back to the swimming pool. But
yeah.
Now on the final lap of this race, what a dramatic race it has been. All sort of died down here in the closing stages, but it was a lot of action throughout 50 or 60 laps of this one. It was a real roller coaster, and I don't know, what word would you use to describe it?
Crazy. Or pandemonium.
Pandemonium. That's what I was thinking anyway, but yeah, Woody Wolfie put it on the pole by a second and showed his pace in qualifying, and then he backed up that pace with some great consistency and decision making when the tough decision had to be made between slick tires and intermediates. He was the outlier of all those on the lead lap, went for the intermediates, and boy did it pay off. It gave him pretty much a pit stop gap to the rest of the field, and then went on to full wets and has never looked back as he comes through the final corner for the final time onto the start-finish straight. Woody Wolfie wins the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah, fantastic show. He just seems to have known exactly what to do in this race at all points. Incredible pace.
And the consistency cannot be overlooked. It's not just the raw pace. I don't think he ever made contact with the wall, got himself into any trouble. It was just a flawless drive from Woody Wolfie.
Yeah, Sega has jumped Xerxes as they cross the line, and Xerxes did have 16 seconds of penalties.
And I believe for the first time this season, James has beaten his teammate. James crossing the line second, a great drive from him. I believe he started third, was able to make up a position at the start of the race, and drove really well. Cal crosses the line third. Cause was the first of the lapped cars to finish. He is fourth. Xerxes finishes fifth. Left down estate still completing his final lap. And Old Dad's just now crossing the line to finish seventh. Prev in 8th, Maxi finishing 9th, and CHM finishing 10th in the Mercedes. Well done to all of our drivers to get through this one. It was definitely not easy, challenging track, and even worse conditions.
Yep, incredible Grand Prix there. Prev, driver of the day. Can't argue with that, but, you know, I think everybody who finished this Grand Prix has done an outstanding job. But Woody, deservedly on the top step there, had his crystal ball out, knew exactly how the race was going to play out, and knew what to do when, and you can't discourage the two McLaren drivers up there on the podium also. So we'll run down our final standings here. Woody Wolfe taking the race win after taking pole, and all he needed was to complete the hat-trick, was the fastest lap, but that was given to Xerxes. But Woody Wolfe, the winner here at the Monaco Grand Prix. In second place we have James, third place Cal, fourth is Sega to Cars, fifth is Xerxes, sixth is Let Down Estate, seventh is Old Dad's Rules, eighth is Prev, ninth is Maxi, 10th is CHM. Then we had Silver Slugger, James Laws and Blood and Sand DNF from that session. So what an incredible show we had there, and Matt is just getting in the drivers for a post-race interview. We'll just flick onto the stream and make sure everybody can be heard, so if they can just make sure they've got their audio share settings on, we can see how they felt with that race.
Yeah, we'll start with Cal getting himself back on the podium. Another solid result, and that was quite a roller coaster. Give us your overall thoughts.
Yeah, it was at the start was the best bit. So obviously went down to fifth, which wasn't good, but then battling with Sega and a letdown was fun. Managed to clear them. Gaps were huge to the guys in front. Safety cars weren't much help, but just because of the amount of cars between us at the starts. But in all honesty, Woody was flying. So yeah, all in all, another good result. McLaren points on the board, so I'm very happy.
Was you hoping to take them medium tyres on your first stint all the way to the wet weather? Did you know roughly when it was going to come?
So yeah, I could have easily taken it to the wet weather, but I knew I had the gap. I think, I came out in the same position, and I didn't lose a position. Did I come out the pit?
Yeah.
Did I lose a position or keep a position?
I think you stayed where you were and you had to gap.
That's what I thought. So so I just went on for the soft tyres just because I knew rain was coming. I just thought, well, I'm not going to catch two guys in front. I'll clear the guy behind. Soft tyres might help in the rain for a little bit longer, get me through the rain or whatever. Because we wasn't sure if it was just going to be a small bit of rain, or the guy with the weather forecast wasn't very much help. But yeah, and we just sort of made it up as we went along, I think.
Yeah, so that bit where it was raining for like 10, 12 laps, and everybody seemed to just stay on the slicks. Was there any thought of going on to the intermediates over that time, or was it still clearly not wet enough? But I don't know, it looked really challenging out there.
It was a bit of a weird one because Woody obviously went onto the inters really early, which was a little bit too early. But I did say to James, I thought that his inters might come on strong if it keeps raining. But there was no sort of like warning of it getting to the point where it went from dry to inters. It kind of just switched at turn 2, I think it was, which was a nightmare. It was literally fine. I think I overtook Woody the lap before. I think he let me through because he was really struggling. Then the next lap, it was role reversal, but 10 times worse. It went from grip at the last corner or the whole lap that was fine, manageable, and then just nothing. So, it's a bit of a nightmare.
Absolutely crazy.
It didn't cost me anything, so it was all good in the end.
Yeah, another fantastic race, another podium, 6th podium in a row. So fantastic show for McLaren.
Yeah, and since your teammate isn't able to join us for an interview, just have a few words for him. I think, is that the first time he's actually finished ahead of you so far this season? So a great result for him.
Yeah, to be honest, he did really well. So he had the pace on me pretty much all afternoon. So I can't really complain with in finishing ahead because he fully deserved it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think for majority of the race, because I was in sort of the middle of nowhere, I didn't really feel I had to push. I wasn't really going to gain to get back in any contention anyway. It was just all I'd be doing is risking a nightmare incident that would cost me many points. So it was kind of just controlling the race. But for James, yeah, he definitely had the pace. And then obviously Woody ahead was even quicker. But yeah, it was all good. It was a little bit frustrating at the end because I don't know if it was on the stream, but I actually pulled over for 2 seconds. I had a big sign on my TV telling me it's going to turn off, so I had to pull over at the chicane, which was frustrating. But yeah, it was all good. I'm happy for James, and obviously, like I said, points on board. It wouldn't have made a difference, so it's all good.
Yeah, good haul of points for McLaren, finishing third and second. So well done, Cal, and thank you for joining. But now our race winner, the man who absolutely dominated this race when it came to pace and qualifying, and then pace and consistency in the race, and then the decision making with strategy, Woody Wolfie. How you feeling about that?
Hello. Yeah, good result. I was pretty happy with all of that race, to be honest.
And when you saw the gap in qualifying, were you surprised at the gap between you and the rest of the field, or were you thinking that this was going to be a track where you knew you had that kind of pace?
No, I definitely thought it was going to be closer in qualifying. I think Xerxes and Cal got a bit stuck at the start. I think they dropped a couple of positions. But yeah, it was don't know. There was a few calls. Like I had to push in the first stint to try and get the pit stop to come out ahead of Cal. That was I thought it was quite crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah, you qualied a second in front of Xerxes, but Xerxes was on the medium tyre, so we didn't know how that was going to play out, but it seemed almost like you had a crystal ball and you knew how the weather was going to turn, when it was going to turn, because on that last safety car restart, you was the only car on the intermediate tyres. Everybody else was on the slicks, but it played into your hands about 4 laps later.
I didn't think it was actually going to work. As soon as I actually let James and Cal go by, because I didn't want to interrupt with their race. And then, like Cal said a moment ago, you didn't quite know when it was going to turn, and then on one of the laps it just turned, and I went from losing a couple of seconds to gaining a couple of seconds just in one lap. So it was quite fortunate. It was a risky roll, but it worked out.
Yeah, as I said on the commentary, high risk, high reward, and that one definitely paid off for you. But then, not only did the intermediates come into play, but then just a few laps later, it was full wets. What was that like, going so quickly from light rain and still being on the slicks to the polar opposite in just extreme wet conditions?
Yeah, I didn't quite feel too bad on the inters when it was just changing, but I seen Cal was the first person to pit for wets, and I just thought I'll just follow in on that, and it definitely was the time to do it.
It's funny because I actually did 1 lap on the inters. 1 lap was all it needed, and then I was like, nah, this is dreadful. It felt worse on the inters in the rain than it did in the dries. That 1 lap changed, well, the 2 laps. The first one that went from dry to inters was bad, and then the one that went from inters to wet was even worse. It was a weird one.
Yeah, driving on the inters at the safety car restart was pretty hard, to be honest. There was no grip at that point.
Did you find it drier towards the end?
No, I felt every lap it was getting better, but just couldn't keep with the pace of you and James who passed me.
No, I mean, like sort of 10 laps from the end, it sort of looked like we had a little bit of a dry line.
At the end.
Yeah, it was really bad last few laps, but there was a point where we had a bit of a dry line. So.
Yeah, I think I noticed that on commentary. There was a significantly drier part of the track on the racing line than the rest, where there was a lot of standing water.
Yeah.
So, but well done for both of you navigating those conditions. Woody Wolfie, congratulations on your 2nd win of the season. Really impressive drive. Absolutely blew everybody away. Thank you guys for joining us, and congratulations on a great result.
Yep, thank you, well done.
Cheers. Thank you.
And
Cheers.
stay safe, everyone.
Yeah, we will be back next week on the streets of Baku, another street circuit, and we hope you join us for that one. Thank you everybody for watching. We will see you next week.
Cheers.